The Calcio Guys is a weekly podcast by Adreano Donardo, Gianni Delacoli, and myself, Nicholas Di Giovanni. We want to bring Calcio back to its roots in our communities and share stories from around the world about why we're passionate about the beautiful game. You can listen to us anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, including Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Mixcloud. Give us your opinion on social media at The Calcio Guys on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The intro song is Fireworks by Jazar. A week in which myself, a Juventino, Adriano, a Milanista, and Gianni, a Roma Napoli fan, we got to celebrate together. And there's only one team that could do that. It's the Azzurri here on the Calcio Guys with Adreano Donardo, Gianni Delacoli. I'm Nicholas Di Giovanni. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. What a day for us Milan fans, but what a bigger day for the Azzurri fans as we saw a big performance on Labor Day here, and couldn't be happier.
I'm doing very, very well. It was a great Labor Day Monday.
Yeah, it's true. We watched the game together with the Azzurri, and I told you guys then it's like considering the three of us like different teams in pretty much every single sport, it's the only time we could actually get together and cheer with our friends Franco and Francesco, sitting on the patio outside on the patio table. Mm-hmm. Put a TV on the table and we ate pizza, and we were safe, obviously. Okay, we'll start with the Azzurri because we'll talk Milan a bit later with Sabrina Belmonte. Big day for Milan fans, obviously, with Tonali officially signing. Milan swooping in from Inter to sign him. One thing I'll say about Tonali is that just looking at a couple of the pictures that he's Milan's posted, a couple of the interviews, like this guy looks young. He doesn't look like I would give him like 17, 18 years old, to be honest. I don't know if that's a good thing. Like, he looks super young. He's what, a year younger than Donnarumma? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe he's 20.
Actually, I think he might be younger than that. Let me double. Hold on. No, I think you're right on the 20 thing. Hold on.
He's a year younger. He's born May 2000.
Yeah,
exactly.
Meanwhile, Donnarumma looks 27 already.
and his deep voice doesn't do him justice neither.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, the Azzurri against Bosnia, 1-1, pretty disappointing draw.
Now Lorenzo Insigne to roll it back for Sensi! Big deflection, Sensi's goal, and Italy level.
Nothing, it was the first time the Azzurri played together in 10 months?
Yeah.
Pretty disappointing with everything considered. A 1-1 draw at home. It almost reminded me of He Who Must Not Be Named, of his days.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Don't even get us started.
Don't start with the letter V, by the way. I just want to say that. The clever nickname there.
It ends in an Uda. But we don't say that name anymore here on the podcast on the Calcio Guys. But disappointing result. It was great to finally be back with the international play. With the national team that we all three of us love. And I didn't get to catch really all the game. I was at work. I managed to catch the goal while I was on break, so that was one plus. But on the Sensi goal there, but just sloppy play. It wasn't what we we had such high expectations and high hopes, but I think the gameplay kind of just fell flat and kind of crushed our spirits a bit. But they didn't lose. They did get the draw. Couldn't extend that unbeaten streak after 11 straight games. There, they could have made it 12, but. It was a disappointing result with that 1 point. They say, you'd rather the point rather than the loss, but it almost felt like a loss, just how the team played overall. I know it's been a weird year, from club play to international play to canceling of tournaments or postponing of tournaments and what have you. But Yeah, no, I just we would have obviously liked the win, but I think the draw, we'll take it and run, and we did run with it, and after the game against Netherlands.
I mean, yes, it did suck that we didn't get a W from that, but Italy's also been undefeated in the past 2 years now, and that continued that streak at least. So, I mean, mind you, the competition that we faced wasn't really the strongest. There were some games that obviously were harder than others. So, I mean, I was happy with at least the draw. I mean, not happy, but like at least we got the draw, because a loss to Bosnia would have looked very bad on the roster and on the team. And plus, I think it would have maybe shook up some things. But it just goes to show that even after a very long break from COVID, from even though they played in their league games not as a unit, it showed that they're still meshing very well together, which is a great sign, because going into Euro 2021, you don't want your team to look weak going into it, So they still look like as if they're on form, which is always encouraging to see, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, and I think they still got next international break. I think it's 2 Nations League games plus a friendly, and I think
October.
Yeah, I think they do that in November too. So usually on these breaks it's only 2 games, and I think in those it's 3. So it's good to see. But I think if there's one positive to come out of that game against Bosnia is we saw just how bad Federico Chiesa played. Like, this guy does not deserve a starting spot with the Azzurri. Like, oh,
here we go.
No. But seriously, guys, come on.
Here we go.
I know you guys like him. But he was this guy. He needs a GPS when he gets in the box. He's so lost. Like, Johnny
loves him. I like him. I think what it is we expect so much from him, because we know. Well, at least I can say for myself. I know he has talent, and he is a good player, but it's just the consistency and performing in big moments and moments that count. Obviously, it's Nations League, call it as you will. They eliminated the friendlies for this type of tournament, but I think for myself, I could just say it's like I expect so much, and I know Johnny expects the world from him, but when he falls flat, it sucks, because the media eats that up, and it shows on the pitch.
Johnny definitely looks like he has something to say.
I mean, like, players are allowed to have bad games. You can't always be on form all the time. Remember that, what was it, last year? I'm sorry, my camera's a bit dirty. I'm just cleaning it up. Last year, what was it, Bernardeschi had like a very terrible Nations League game where he was just not able to he wasn't able to handle the ball, couldn't even get a shot on target. It happens. Yeah, I honestly believe.
That's Bernardeschi every game.
Yeah, but you used to argue at one point that Bernardeschi was better than Chiesa. Remember that debate? And now all of a sudden, that debate that we had, whatever. We had that debate where like, Bernardeschi's better than Chiesa. Now Bernardeschi's no longer in the conversation, or Cellini takes precedence over Bernardeschi right now. Just think about that. At the end of the day, I think maybe just Chiesa just had a terrible game. I don't think it's fair to judge him based on this one game. And even this game versus Netherlands, he didn't even play. So it's like, okay, well, maybe he didn't even get a chance yet to either redeem himself or show that he's really not showing up for games. So I don't think we could pass judgment yet. I just think that maybe he just had an off game.
Well, he came in on the end against the Netherlands, and I think the ball came to him.
But like the last 4 minutes, it's true. But it was like the last 4 or 5 minutes. You can't really base a game off 4 or 5 minutes. Thanks for the correction. I completely forgot about that.
I think the ball came to him like 3 times, and he made 4 mistakes. Like, he couldn't even clear the ball properly from the box.
I think Nick is mad because I talk shit about Bonucci on Twitter.
No, I don't care about I watch Bonucci. I'm not going to defend Bonucci. He plays for Juve, sure, but we know he's the twerking king of the Serie A. So
twerking king? Where is this from?
His bum defending, literal bum defending.
Okay, fair.
But against the Netherlands, what a fun game to watch. It was a whole new team, and I think it was the 7 changes that they made, the new wing backs, the new mid. I think for me the new forwards made the big difference. Starting off with Zaniolo and Immobile instead of Chiesa and Belotti, I think it made a big difference. They were playing the ball up the pitch. Vertical passes a lot more than horizontal passes that they were doing against Bosnia. And, obviously Immobile didn't score, but he was creating chances. He was holding up play. Beautiful assist on that Barella goal. Barella, by the way, 5'8". He's split between the 6'4" Virgil van Dijk and 5'11" Nathan Ake. Okay, yeah, that's embarrassing if you're Van Dijk and Ake. like that's Serie A versus Prem, and us Italians, we love seeing that because we're gonna use that picture. Did you guys see that picture, by the way, of him heading up between those?
Beautiful.
Two? We're gonna use that picture in any argument against Prem heads now.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like you said, Nick, I think, the forward changes. First off, I think Mancini put on his glasses. That's number one. He put on his glasses for the lineup against the Netherlands, whereas he didn't have them, it seemed like, when he selected the game against Bosnia. But jokes aside, I think Immobile needed to get in there. I'm a fan, and Zaniolo also looked good, but just the overall team, like you said, the passing, they were just moving the ball well. They were moving it around. One-touch passes. They found each other on the pitch, found the space, but in between the Netherlands, and the goal was fantastic. I wasn't expect it to be Barella, but hey, we'll take it any day of the week. And the only damper, and I think everybody can probably say this, is the Zaniolo injury. Before halftime there, it's one of these things where I don't care what team you support, I don't care who you follow, or what players you like or dislike. When you see something like that, another ACL injury in the same year for a young kid, or any player for that matter, it's just sad to see. And it just, for him, when he went down, we were like, okay, he got up, he was walking off, but with these knee injuries, they're very particular, and we did get the confirmation that it was another ACL tear, and for me, that was like the one downer on the game. I mean, I think that was probably the major downer probably for most people, but it was just super sad to see for Zaniolo. We just, we're all with him here, and hope for a speedy recovery. Not even a speedy recovery, just a full, good recovery, and for him to become back stronger. And I hope for the best, because he is one of the future stars of Serie A, the Italian national team, and I think he's crucial going forward.
Unfortunately, I missed it because I was helping clean up, so I went inside, and all of a sudden,
come.
And I was like coming out, like, well, guys, what happened? Like, I was all like, I thought something good happened. You're like, is Daniel was injured? I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. At least, that wasn't a super good thing that he was walking on his own, because it's never a tall tale sign.
That's hard to tell with these injuries.
Yeah, but I agree with Adri on the point that I don't wish a speedy recovery. I actually wish a full recovery, especially if Roma Twitter was really mad. And I'm mad as well, because if you looked at the amount of ACL injuries in the past 5-6 seasons, it was something really high. Like, it was
19-20, I think it was.
Yeah, it was like 19 to 21 injuries. I think 21.
Just with Roma?
Just with Roma in the past 5-6 seasons. So either
2 in the same year, like it's ridiculous.
I think either I would think. It just goes to show that maybe your support staff and your medical staff is just incompetent in actually helping these players recover and come back. I think that they actually should, like Friedkin coming in, he should actually observe everything right now and notice this fact and be like, okay. Yeah. Maybe there's something behind the scenes that's causing this issue. So I honestly hope that they don't just like, oh yeah, you're good to go type of thing. Like, no, let's actually properly take this time. And even if it means for him missing a year, it's going to be shitty. But in the grand scheme of things, what is 1 year loss compared to another 15, 16 seasons of a career? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially with a knee injury, in pro sports. I mean, knee injuries are one of the worst injuries, or up there, and one of those particular injuries that are just career damaging. It could be, and especially in Calcio, your knees, your ankles, you're making these sharp cuts, the runs that these players make at such a high speed. You screw up your knee, you might screw up your career. So again, we hope nothing but the best and a good recovery for Zaniolo, and we can't wait to see him back on the pitch.
I think at least for him, it was his left knee this time, and the first knee that got injured was the right one. So at least it's not the same knee. You could look at it another way. He's got 2 bad knees now. means better than rupturing the same knee twice. In my opinion, it's just it's just unfortunate. It's really bad
Unlucky.
luck. You hope full recovery, because when he's on the pitch, he's making those electric runs, and he's one of Italy's best young players, and you don't want him to be that player we talk about in 10, 15 years. Oh, what could have been if it weren't for a knee injury? I know it sounds cliche, and we like to make jokes of like guys we meet in like Saint Leonard saying they would have made Serie A if it weren't for a knee injury. But
the classic, if it wasn't for my knee giving out, I would have made it to the league.
Yeah, exactly.
But
at least with Zaniolo, he's already in the Serie A, right?
That's it, exactly.
Perfect transition now to another young player that I think we're all excited about, Weston McKennie with Juve. No, I'm kidding.
That's a dream come true. Dream come true for him too. American dream.
Sandro Tonali. So we're gonna ask Sabrina about it in about 15 minutes. We're gonna ask Sabrina about it, but before we ask her, we're gonna ask you, Adreano, since you are our designated Milan fan. If that's what you actually are. I've seen you with the Juve scarves in the past, I'm pretty sure.
This guy. You're lucky. You're in another house. I would come over and kill you. No, I'm joking. But
down the streets.
Yeah, exactly. I'll come run over. But no, jokes aside. I mean, I'm fucking super pumped. I mean, I said it. I remember. We've been discussing this topic before, even if it was on the pod or just with the Milan Club Montreal that I'm a proud member of, and or just other people. I remember when we were talking to our friend Alex Donno, he was saying, Inter, with Tonali, it's they got these agreements, this and that. I'm like, listen, he's coming to Milan, and I think it would be the best fit for him. All things considered, and finally, we got the great news today for us Milan fans that it is official. He's his dream is coming true. The team that he supported as a kid, and I like the move. I think it's about time where Milan is making serious positive steps forward. To rebuild this team and to get them back to hopefully where they once were. And I don't think Tonali is going to be the sole representative to bring Milan there, but slowly I think moves like this show that they are serious, that this project has some sort of a vision, and no, it's honestly great. I know all of Milan Twitter, all of Milan fans around the world are pretty happy about this. It's about time we get a young Italian star in the lineup. So and I think it just again, it made sense, the fit. If you would go to Inter, I didn't think he would crack the lineup. Maybe he'd probably sit on the bench. Even with Juve does have problems in the midfield, but would he get to start right away? Maybe not. Who knows? Napoli, I kind of like the midfield how it already is. He could maybe be an upgrade over certain players, but and Roma the same. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Roma would be another okay fit for him, but I just think from the love of Milan that he has, just the fit that he can slot into the midfield, with if it's Kessie, Benacer, maybe Bakayoko if he comes back. I think that dynamic, that rotation is good, and yeah, it's all these factors coming together to make the move possible, and I'm super happy.
The only thing I don't like about the move, I don't mean this as a critique on Milan, because obviously getting Tonali, which is the top-rated Italian prospect right now, is obviously massive for the team. He's going to wear the number 8 for Gattuso, and he says that's his idol and everything, and I totally understand that. But aren't you placing some underlying pressure on your mind with that? Like, psychologically, there is an effect there. It's like, just think about it. Just place yourselves in your favorite team, and you have an idol from this team, and now you're going to wear his number on the field, right? Yeah. And then you have that psychological whisper in your head saying, can I play as good as this guy? This guy was my idol. Like somebody who I always thought was the best of all time in this position. Can I even reach that level? Now, obviously being a professional player, obviously his psychological game is much stronger than all of ours combined. But I'm just saying, like, that's still form some kind of pressure, and I just hope it doesn't restrict him from playing through his full potential. That's all.
I think it was him that chose the number, right? And there was a call that he made to Gattuso saying, if he can have the honors to take that number, and obviously that is the case now. But I think it shows what a character for a young kid, to take on that pressure on himself. He has a lot of balls to do that, because, like you said, Johnny, it's when you try to emulate your idols and heroes growing up. It's a lot of pressure, especially in Milano. It's that piazza is a hard piazza to play for. The shirt is a heavy shirt to wear, and especially with that number on the back as well, and the badge on the front. So I think it shows that he's willing to elevate his game and to really be mentally strong going forward. And kudos to him, and I wish him nothing but the best in the Rossoneri colors.
I think the only number that puts pressure on in Milan, as long as you're not wearing the number 9.
The number 9.
Transfer season in full swing. Inter, it seems like they're getting any wing back possible. Like they just see a guy that's available, that's wing back. Okay, we're gonna get him. They got Hakimi, they got Kolarov for the left side. I like that move for Inter to get Kolarov. Disappointing for Roma. Roma's been really quiet in this window. Napoli made some moves in the winter. They also got Osimhen, our good friend, or one of our favorite players on this show, Giacomino Mio Bonaventura. Max Allegri's son went to Fiorentina. Juve's made a couple of moves, Artur, McKinney, but overall pretty quiet. Dzeko, Suarez, they want a number 9, but it's been like 2-3 weeks that they've been wanting number 9, so we're going to wait and see on that. Benevento, they've been making moves. Caprari, Lapadula, Glick, Ionita, experienced Serie A guys. Atalanta got Piccini from Valencia, Christian Romero from Juve, Miranchuk from Lokomotiv Moscow. He scored against Juve in the Champions League. Lazio, pretty quiet, but they did get Muriqi. Give me your guys, like your the biggest movers, the best who's won the transfer market so far, and the biggest losers at the same time.
Wow. Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to judge, because officially the mercato window just really opened, so it's about to open or whatever. But it's kind of hard to judge. There was a lot of moves that were made. The free transfer of Pedro to Roma, I think, is a nice little move. I've liked what Atalanta has done. With these defensive upgrades, if you want to call it that. Piccini, is a good wing back, and probably could slot into Gasperini's plan. Same with Romero in the back, and Miranchuk. I believe he plays left back, if I'm not mistaken, or he is another wing back, I believe. I kind of like those moves as well. I'm going to be biased and say Milan, just because I think the official signing of Tonali, bringing in Brahim Diaz, who's seems like a little bit of a Spanish spark on the wing. Should be interesting to see if they can pull off Bakayoko coming back. I'll probably be biased with that. I can't really judge too much on Lazio, because I don't really know this Muriqi player too much, and they've been kind of quiet. Obviously, the David Silva news and rumor broke after that and fell through. But Napoli, I like Napoli too. Osimhen looks very, very exciting. I know there are certain, our friend Rafa from Far From Vesuvius, a big fan over there, and our boy Petagna too is over there and finally arriving after his COVID scare as well. So I think for their attack, Osimhen and Petagna, if they can get themselves in a rotation there with Mertens, and if they let go of Milik, or they keep Milik, he'll be in the rotation as well. So I'm excited for those teams, and can't really judge the teams that haven't really made too much moves.
Like the market, obviously it's still not over yet, so it's really hard to pinpoint a winner. Inter bolstering up their backline is very nice. I actually like the move that Napoli did, because it's a great marketing move in Osimhen, because like Nigeria founded its first ever like Napoli fan club there, and I think he's building a brand, De Laurentiis, and he has to because he needs to kind of grow globally in order to find success with the team. If they sell Koulibaly, which it's looking like it could happen, it'll suck, and I think it's gonna probably make them more of a loser in this market because you're gonna downgrade tremendously. But you did expend a lot, so you have to balance it out, or else FIFA fair play is just gonna come down. Actually, an underrated move that Milan did that I find that is actually not spoken of as much is keeping Ibrahimovic. That I find, especially with the young roster that they have, that's a very big thing. So I would have to say that that's a very, very big thing for them. As a loser, honestly, Roma. I mean, like, I don't like the fact that they got Pedro. You move laterally. You're not really addressing the big issue for the team. You're trying to fill in spots that already overfilled, and if you lose Dzeko, then okay, great, now you have to replace a star striker, like a star, quote unquote star. Like he's been our player. He's been our most consistent striker and one of the most consistent players of the team in the past 3-4 seasons maybe. He's always been the guy that Roma was able to call upon to get those game-winning goals, and he has. And if you lose him, you're not going to get much for him. It's not about the value. It's just you lose him, now what do you replace him with, And especially with Zaniolo being out, now you really have nothing up front. Pedro is just a lateral move. He's not going to do anything like what Dzeko did. You have Under, who's, as we like to call him, underwhelming, and they just sold Schick for 25 million, which is nice, but
that's good.
Yeah, but the options are getting thin, in my opinion, and we'll have to see what Freakin does. But so far, it's not looking good this offseason for them.
I'm a huge fan of what Benevento has done. I think they're that one promotion club where they got a bit more money than the others. Finishing first in Serie B by quite a margin too. They already have the talent. They have a great coach in Pippo Inzaghi, and they're going out and getting experienced Serie A guys. I know we like to talk about the teams at the top, and if we're going to talk about the teams at the top, I like what Inter has done. I like what Atalanta has done too. I feel like Miranchuk could be a real solid player, the next like Malinowski or something. And then, good to see Piccini come back to Italy after so many years in Spain. And but overall, I really like Benevento. Losers. I think the two Roman clubs, I don't think they've done enough, I think for each club in their objectives, they need to get to the next level, and I don't think they've done enough. Lazio, they challenged for the Scudetto last year, but they fell because they didn't have enough depth, and they haven't been doing anything in the market. Roma, they want to challenge for Champions League now. Maybe it's because of the change of ownership and everything. Sure, Pedro's a nice little addition. Is he going to be a starter? Probably now because of Zaniolo's injury. But I think the two Roman clubs just haven't done enough. And then before we get to Sabrina, normally we do our yellow cards and red cards of the week. I think I could speak for everyone. Yellow card, red cards, and we do for MVP, since there wasn't actually soccer. We'll give an MVP, and I think you guys will agree with me here. Mihailovic, the guy beat leukemia and COVID in the past year or so. So he gets our MVP, and the guy's looking like a stud. I saw a picture of him at Bologna training. My God, if I saw this guy on the streets and he told me like what to do, even if anything. If this guy just looked at me in the eyes and just told me anything, I'd listen to him 100%. That's a scary looking guy right there, and you wouldn't know he just beat cancer and COVID too. So
COVID, it's
MVP
it's crazy.
Right
MVP definitely. I think you said it well, Nick. And you look up Warrior, in the dictionary. I think his name pops up, and it's one of those things. We saw the battle of leukemia, and we were like, it was a sad thing, and he got through that. He fought through that, and then COVID hit him, and we're like, this guy can't catch a break this year. It's 2020. It was bad for all of us, but just if you put yourself in Mihailovic's shoes, it was even worse than that. So, but he fought through that. So it was great, great news to see him back in Bologna. He through all this, he was still Bologna's manager, and I think they love him there, and I think he loves what he's doing over there, and we wish him honestly nothing but the best going forward.
And yellow card. You guys agree with me? This one we'll give it collectively to Mancini for
game one,
for getting his glasses.
Are you kidding me? And how does that? I swear to God, only in Italy. Nick, I remember Nick was said it. Only in Italy, this type of shit happens where this gets out in the public, in the media. That Mancini didn't have his glasses. Exactly, but I know. But just like the mentality to say something like that, it's like no shame, no whatever. Like he doesn't like it. It's one of those things only in Italy that this type of stuff would happen. That while you're making the selection, I didn't have my glasses. That Cherby started over Chiellini, but no. Even with that mistake, I think it wasn't that mistake that really cost them maybe the win, but. The collective yellow card or maybe red card for Mancini's not wearing his glasses when he's supposed to.
This is definitely going to be another.
I'm okay with that too. It's ridiculous. How do you defend yourself from that? Like, normally if you say that to, why were you late? I didn't.
I forgot my keys.
Telling your boss, like, my alarm, I didn't put it on, so that's why I'm late. Okay, well,
why don't you do your homework? My dog ate it. Like,
yeah, it's
one of those things.
It's ridiculous.
I think back in November 2017, he who must not be named forgot his brain or something when he was.
I don't know if he ever had it. That's the problem.
Okay, we'll take a short break. On the other side of break, Sabrina Belmonte from Play by Play Podcast. Back here on the Calcio Guys with Adreano DiNardo, Gianni Delacoli, and myself, Nicholas DiGiovanni. Joining us this week from Toronto is Sabrina Belmonte from the Play by Play Podcast. Sabrina, how's it going?
Really good. How about you?
Pretty good. I know.
Not bad.
I know you Milan fans are happy today.
Oh yeah.
And that's because Sandro Tonali finally signed. He had his medicals today, and I think that's the talk between Rossoneri fans and I think Serie A fans in general, and you as a Milan fan. I'm forgetting our typical first question, but I'll ask you about Tonali first. What do you make of that move?
I think it's really smart, and it's really encouraging to see more and more young talents want to come to Milan, and especially that Tonali had the opportunity to go to Inter, who, I mean, right now, let's face it, Adriano, they're at a better place than we are. And I know they probably dropped off their interest too, so it's not like he had to completely choose between the two of us, but to see that he would prefer to come and play for Milan, it's encouraging. It's nice to see, and it kind of feels like for the first time in a decade, we actually are building something here.
Absolutely, Sabrina. I think you nailed it on the head. It's for him, dream come true. I said it before you came on, and it's great to see that. Like you said, attracting talent, attracting players, and people. Players want to come, and I think they believe in this small project that's going forward, with Maldini and the Pioli staying on that coach and all the guys up top and upper management, going forward. So it's exciting times, and I totally agree with you. But the Tonali news was so big that we had to ask you to do that first. But to move on, we ask pretty much I think every guest that we have on the show, how they became the fan of their club, their team, and how they fell in love with Calcio. So. if you want to tell us and all our massive amount of listeners how you became a Milan fan and how you became a fan of the beautiful game.
Yeah, so definitely because of my dad. Him and his brothers and his dad were massive Calcio fans, and every Sunday watching the games on Rai, waking up to the Squilli di Tromba and just being able to watch all of that. Yeah, my dad has always been a Milan fan. His whole family is Milan fans, and just growing up watching Calcio with him, it was just something like I just fell in love with the club because it wasn't even something that he forced upon us. It was just sharing that with my dad was really special, and now it's just such a huge part of my life, and it's still something special I enjoy with my dad.
Especially being a proud member of Milan Club Toronto, I can imagine, you brought it to another level.
Oh, yeah.
The Squilli di Tromba, does Rai still do that?
They play some of the games, but it's still that awful standard definition quality. It's so bad.
With the jazz music in between intermission and stuff. I remember as a kid, honestly, watching it with my nonno and just only
yeah, mid-game and the fourth quarter goes even worse because there's another action going on.
Picture in picture.
Good shit, man. Good shit.
I'll move on to our first question because we got a lot of them. So the first one comes from AC Milan Digital from Instagram. What do you think of the Milan mercato so far?
I think it's brilliant. I think all Milanisti need to honestly stand up and give Maldini a round of applause. Well, I know he's not the only one that's responsible for it, but when he came in, everybody thought that he was just going to be there as a poster boy. They just wanted him back at the club to make it look like, look, everything's great. Maldini's back. But he's been putting in the work, and the players that they brought in, and I know everybody's upset that, some of these are loans like Brahim Diaz, but at the end of the day, we need to get back to the Champions League. And even if we have these players for the short term, once we start improving and getting back to where we used to be, then we can attract other talent. So I think that especially compared to what happened in the Yang Hong Lee era with just buying a whole new team of players and some of them were older and whatnot. This was a really, really, really good strategy that they had. Buy players or get players on loan that are young, that have an upside, and do a little bit at a time so they can gel together so it's not just a complete shock when they get on the pitch.
Yeah, again, Sabrina, totally agree. I think, the Maldini effect, works. When Maldini comes calling, I think, players see that and it's like almost like a dream come true, even if they're not a defender, if they're an attacker or midfielder, whoever it is, when a legend like Maldini comes calling and comes to see you, interest, that we have interest in the club for you and whatnot, I think it, pays dividends and, hopefully, knock on wood, we don't burn him. Like all the other legends we have, but another social media question, like Gianni said, we got a couple of them from our good friend over at Serie A Scout, a great page on Twitter. He asks, Milan now have depth upon depth in the mid. How do you see Pioli lining up? He also asks, they are still linked with another mid in Bakayoko, Sumare, and Luis. Who would be your preference and why? I don't know if you know those other players besides Bakayoko, and if you do, comment. If not, it's okay.
Well, I think that Pioli has no choice but to just go with what has been working since the lockdown. Like, we had a good thing going, and I know everyone's gonna want to incorporate these new players right away, but we had players that earned their spot. So Benacer, Kessie, they earn their spot in the midfield. And I know we would love to see Tonali just waltz in and start playing, but we're in 3 competitions this year. The Serie A is what is ultimately really important to us because we are trying to get that top 4. So I think for the Serie A, he needs to put in that main lineup that he used post-lockdown. Even like Castillejo, I think he's earned his spot on the right. You slowly start introducing Diaz or, incorporate Salamakers as you go, but why mess up something that's not broken? Let him continue where he left off. But as for the other players, I don't know the other two too well, but even still, I think Bakayoko, depending on the price, if they could get the price a little bit lower or salary a little bit lower, I think that would be brilliant because he knows the Serie A, he knows the club, and it's not that different from when he was here the last time. If anything, it's more stable than when he was here the last time. I definitely would like to get him back. And what you were saying about when Maldini comes to call, he did that interview that they said, like, who's the best contact you have in your phone? And he said Paolo Maldini. Like, he loves Milan, he loves the fans, he loves the club, and I would love to see him come back.
Absolutely.
You said it. You said it before. Milan's playing in 3 competitions, and the objective is top 4, and that actually is the start to one of our questions on Twitter from 868 Milanista. He wrote exactly that. Milan's playing in 3 comps this season, and the objective is top 4. He says Paqueta has scored 5 out of 13 goals in the preseason. With Milan's lack of depth, is it wise to sell him? And if they do you see them getting a replacement for Paqueta? And how much of an impact will a replacement have?
I don't know. Paqueta, like, as much as I was excited when he came, he's just never settled in the Serie A. I think he's talented. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that he's not a talented player, and I would hate to just offload him, but I don't think he's realized that he has to adjust his playing style now that he's playing in Italy. And it is different. As much as we like to say it's different league to league. Every league is different. I think he is a flair player. He is a creative player. But if he's going to be in a role to showcase that, the role that he has to play is where Çalhanoğlu's playing right now. And with how good he was after the lockdown, I don't think he's losing his starting spot. So if we keep him, I think he has to just be the backup to Hakan. And if we don't, I don't know who's going to take him. They're going to want to try and at least break even with him. And I don't know who's going to want to pay that much money. So I don't see him going anywhere, but might as well give him a run out in the Coppa Italia, like every Coppa Italia game, play him, and maybe he'll be able to prove himself a bit, get on some other club's radar, and then maybe you can get a little bit of money for that.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of reports with Lyon interested. I don't know how true or not true it is, but I think for Paqueta, he just needs to he needs to get on the field, right? He needs those playing time. Yes, he had it in spurts. He didn't really. He kind of disappointed a bit, but just consistent, run of play, on the pitch, I think is something that he needs and hasn't entirely gotten since joining Milan. So if he can get a real shot and then maybe disappoint, okay, then it's merited that he probably should leave. But if you don't get a solid opportunity or more than one, whereas we've dealt with Hakan's bad play for God knows how long, and then he only finally broke out after post lockdown. So if we could do that for players like that, I think Paqueta deserves another chance, and he just needs playing time.
Yep.
Speaking of player that is going to have maybe some issues with playing time, you touched upon it a bit before, but I'm going to tie it all back because we have this question from In the Name of Football podcast. They said that they heard a lot of great things about Tonali, like everybody's been discussing, but they want to know, in your opinion, how good actually is he? How far do you think he can go?
I think he's phenomenal. I think people are just automatically comparing him to Pirlo, but I don't think that's a good... I mean, nobody's going to be as good as Pirlo, but he's not just like Pirlo. Pirlo wasn't too athletic of a player. He was really good with distributing the ball, so he didn't really have to be that athletic of a player. But Tonali isn't just like he won't just have to be confined to that regista role. Like, he can go and play. He could back up Kessié. He doesn't need to be the backup to Benacer. That kid can run, he's physical, and that's why you see he said multiple times that Gattuso was his idol. Like, you can see shades of Gattuso in his play. He'll go and he'll fight for that ball, he'll get it, and then he'll make a nice pass to one of his teammates. So I think that if we don't put too much pressure on this poor kid, like Pirlo's praised him, Totti's praised him, all these legends of the game are praising him. I hope it doesn't go to his head. I hope he just head down, keeps working. And I think he could be if he wants to stay with Milan, he could be the cornerstone of that Milan midfield for like the next 10 years.
Absolutely. I think, again, Sabrina, you've been nailing everything on the head this evening. I don't know, your analysis is great, but I think you are right. I think, he has maybe the look of Pirlo, but he has, the grinta of Gattuso. But I don't care, who you want to compare him to. If he can, gel those two playing styles together in his play, I think, we got a real gem on our hands and an exciting player on our hands. So, but we had a funny question by the great Presidente Marcello there at Milan Club Montreal. We love Marcello, great guy, great president over here in Montreal for the Milan Club. But he asks, and this is really directed to you, Sabrina. He's like, "What is Sabrina's preferred weapon of choice to spank anyone who will compare Tonali to Pirlo and put too much pressure on the kid?" So you kind of, you kind of started with that, but I guess you can elaborate. He lists belt, wooden spoon, a scob, a shoe, or something else, maybe another random item that somebody you can probably pick up from your kitchen. What would you choose, Sabrina, and why?
I think is he asking me this because I'm Calabrese and he knows I have a temper?
Oof.
Maybe I don't know, but whatever it is, he's asking it, and I think he means business. So what weapon of choice are you choosing?
Okay, Presidente, I'm going to use a slipper. The slipper you could just kick up in your hand and then just whip at someone. That's my weapon of choice.
Oh, I know that slipper all too well. My God.
Yeah, I have a permanent mark on the back side of my head. I think I don't know. No, I'm joking.
I think you have a mark on the inside of your head, Adreano.
Yeah.
Wow. The guys, no insults. Sabrina's on. Let's all be nice, and then boom, Nick comes in with the insult right away.
Some days, I think you're right, Nick. Some days I think you're right. But so Sabrina, you're going with the slipper.
Yes.
Okay. And so why? Just because easy access?
Yeah, and practice.
Practice.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
We got another question from our friend Joseph from Calcio Fan Blogs, another Toronto native. This one's more for he specifically said for both Adriano and Sabrina. I guess we'll start with Sabrina. Who are your favorite Milan players, past and present?
Obviously Maldini, definitely. I know a lot of Milanisti won't agree with me on this one, but I love Pirlo. I don't care what the hell he said in his book. I love him to death. And present, I love Romagnoli, that kind of silent leadership type. I've always had a lot of respect for him. There's so many now, like that. If you asked me this question a few years ago, I would have probably said no one but Gigio. But I'll limit it to 4. Romagnoli, Gigio, Benacer, and Castillejo, because Castillejo's work rate and just like his determination on the field, I love him.
No, absolutely. I think for myself, to answer Joseph's question, we've said it time and time again, but 06, brings great memories for the national team, and on that team there was quite a few Milan players, and that's kind of what got me into Calcio, into loving the national team, loving Milan. The players, like Pirlo. I'm a Pirlo fan as well. I mean, I don't like to see him in white and black, but I'll always know that he accomplished more, with the red and black. So for me, Pirlo, is in there. Gattuso's another name. People Inzaghi. It's unfortunate. I mean, I didn't catch all of the Maldini glory days, but saw a bit maybe near the end, and I think any Milan fan can say Maldini as a role model, or just great player and a player that you respect. So players like that for sure. And the Nestas too, also just those players like in that era that we kind of came on to the Calcio scene, our idols and role models. So, and now present, I'm a big fan of Gigio. He's the guy. I think we need to keep hold of him. I guess maybe Ibra too. He's kind of past and present. So if you want to name one guy, I think he's the guy. Just his will and his confidence and just what he brings to the pitch. It's ridiculous. And So I would probably include Ibra, Gijo, Benacer, Frank the Tank, Kessie. These are players that I think are crucial for the team. I think now Tonali might add to this list now going forward. Those realm of players. I'm a fan of Romagnoli too. I do think sometimes he needs to elevate his game, but I am a fan of him. I would say that whole flurry of players that I named would be on my list.
So we've seen like Milan in the second half of the season, if you want to call it a second half. They were one of the hottest teams, and they climbed so much, and they were performing very well. Now, going forward, where do you think Milan is going to finish this year, or where they're going to?
Well, I think Gianni cut out.
CFC that.
Yeah, Gianni
got it. Hello.
Yeah, Gianni's still there. But that was a question, by the way, from Fabrizio from Genoa CFC Canada, by the way.
Shout out.
About where they're going to finish?
Yeah. He wrote, where are they going to go this year? Well, I hope they're going to Milan, but yeah.
I hope they're going to Champions.
Where they're going to finish, yeah.
Well, it's so hard because the top half of the table is so talented. Like, I feel like if before Sarri got fired, I'd probably say maybe Juve won't win it next year. And I know a lot of people think that because now Pirlo's new, he won't. But I honestly think that getting Pirlo is a good thing for Juventus. So I think Juventus is still going to win it. And I think Atalanta and Inter automatically have a top 4 spot. They haven't done anything that would make me think that they wouldn't get there. Lazio, I'm a bit iffy about this year, but they're still Lazio, Roma, Napoli. There's so many teams that I don't want to jinx it, so I'll say Milan will finish in 5th.
Wow. Well,
listen,
I think I
don't want to jinx it.
It's reverse psychology, right? If you jinx 5th, it means you're going to get 4th.
All right, so we have our final question from our listeners coming from a good friend of mine, Alex Kutras. He asks, which club do you think will surprise you this season with relegation?
In terms of going down?
Getting relegated?
Yeah. Yes, getting relegated. Which, it's easy to predict who's probably going to be the top 3. Which team that you think is going to be in the bottom 3, and which one you think is going to be probably the most surprising one?
Oh, I was going to say Genoa, but that's not surprising because they've been just hovering above the drop for the last 2 seasons. But I don't know. For me, I just think how can you do that for a 3rd year in a row where, I don't know. I'll say Udinese, because if they might lose DePaul, I don't know what's going to happen to them.
That sounds like your surprise pick, Udinese.
Yeah. If he goes to Leeds, I think they're really going to hurt from it and they might go down.
Interesting. I think, I don't know, but I find with DePaul, it's one of these things. It's like, it's not that he's always on the way out, but he always seems to stick around. So I don't know if he'll make the move. I don't know if Leeds is I don't really know Leeds too well, so I don't want any people coming down. Oh yeah, Leeds is better than Udinese or whatever. But I don't know if it's an upgrade of a move for him. So. Tell me that Juventus was interested, and he might go to Juve, and that's it's an upgrade for him, and maybe he can show something on a bigger club. But I guess Udinese would be a shock pick. It seems like they always are near the bottom 2. But if we just before we get to another question that I had, if you wanted to do the flip, how do you think the promotion teams are gonna fare come next season?
I think Benevento might surprise and maybe stay up, but okay. I don't know. I think Crotone and Spezia, it'll just be a 1-season trip and they'll be going back down. But I think Benevento, Pippo Inzaghi has had a kind of turbulent start to his coaching career, but I think he's got a good thing going there, and it seems like they're trying to actually invest in players. So it might just be by the skin of their teeth, but I think they might be able to stay up.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we've all had that. Well, actually, I don't know if they're. It's always hard with the relegation teams to predict, and Pippo Inzaghi seems to have a good thing going on in Benevento. We spoke earlier in the episode, how they have some new additions coming in. some Serie A experienced players that are coming into their squad. So so I think that is a good shout. Obviously a big achievement for Spezia. First time in Serie A. Crotone back after a couple of years, and it would suck to see them go down so quick, but just for them to be in Serie A, I think is an accomplishment. But pretty much before we let you go, we started the episode with this discussion. I guess we'll close it off with this topic as well. We spoke about the Azzurri earlier on in the episode. Their Nations League games of Bosnia and against the Netherlands. I don't know if you caught those games. What do you make of the Azzurri in these two games? Mancini's maybe squad selection, and what are your thoughts about the continuation of Nations League and onto Euro 2020/2021?
Well, against Bosnia, I feel like he did that classic thing that Italian managers like to do, where it's like, let's just take it easy here and go for the tie, which I think is an awful idea, because that's what got us into trouble a few years ago, because we weren't taking matches seriously. But you could see he was definitely saving his players for the game against the Netherlands, and it paid off. It was a great game that we watched on Monday. But I just think he can't use the 4-3-3 formation if he's going to have Immobile as a lone striker. I rate Immobile. I think he's a great player, but I don't think he does well if he's there as a sole striker. And you could see he was like drifting to the left side and trying to cross in the ball, but it's like, we don't need you to do that. We need you to score. But if he's going to be our man going in, we need to set him up for success. So I think we'll have a really good chance at the Euros if Mancini could make his squad fit around Immobile and get him playing. And like, if we could have someone setting him up like Luis Alberto does, I think that Italy's going to do great in the Euro. If not, it's just going to be another disappointing where we kind of scrape through the group stages, if that, and just have like a disappointing loss because we can't score goals.
So is that a two-striker formation for you, or who's that guy that's gonna bring Immobile's play to the next level?
Well, everything's all screwed up now because we don't know what's going to happen with Zaniolo. Yeah. Which is sad, but it's just there's not a lot above the under 21s in terms of strikers. So either Mancini has to go and find someone from the under 21s, or he has to play. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is now because everything's so different with Zaniolo being out. Because if we could play with, even Zaniolo just playing, not that he could play a striker, but just playing behind Ciro, I think he would not only score goals himself, but I think he'd be able to feed him those balls that would make him successful the way he is at Lazio. But I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like now.
And I argue that's probably Zaniolo's best position to play as right behind the striker. Yeah, like he's like the games that I've seen him play in that big, he just dominated and he was fantastic. And he's got that speed and energy, so that's why I think sure on the wing he's still effective, but I think right behind the striker is probably his best position.
Yeah, he'd be unstoppable there. But 2 ACL injuries. I mean, I hope the kid comes back the same. Like, it was impressive the way he came back after the first injury, but I mean, that's a rough thing to come back from. So hoping for the best, because if he can get to where he is and reach his potential, oh my God, I think him and feeding Ciro the ball, we'll see you guys in the finals.
So you're here to hear first on the Calcio Guys. Sabrina, if Zaniolo comes back for Euro 2020, 2021, whatever you want to call it, we'll see Italy in the final. But, like we say to every guest, we really do appreciate it, Sabrina, for you coming on to the pod tonight. With all the, the mishaps, a little bit of technical difficulties, your patience, we definitely applaud and we definitely appreciate. Where can all our listeners and followers find you on social media?
You can find me mainly on Twitter at SabriB10, just tweeting about stuff, not looking to get into any arguments, but that doesn't mean they don't find me from time to time. And you can find me and my sister Lisa doing the play-by-play podcast, or just at play-by-play-pod1 on Twitter.
Beautiful. And again, we do appreciate it. And where you can find us, it's always the same, at the Calcio Guys on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well. Catch our podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms. And hopefully we'll be back next week for another episode of the Calcio Guys.
And at least, despite the mishaps, we still had our glasses on this week. That's what matters.
Yeah,
that's what matters.
not alla Mancini, not alla Mancini.
Thanks for listening.
Ciao.
Bye.
The Calcio Guys is a weekly podcast by Adreano DiNardo, Gianni Delacoli, and myself, Nicholas Di Giovanni. We want to bring Calcio back to its roots in our communities and share stories from around the world about why we're passionate about the beautiful game. You can listen to us anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, including Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Mixcloud. Give us your opinion on social media at The Calcio Guys on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The outro song is The Last Ones by Jazar.